Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
This is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. We have Christine Beauchaine with us today. Christine is an author from Northbridge, and she wrote a book called Allison Forever, and it's not a true story, but when you read it, you'd think it's a true story. It's basically, we're going to let her tell you what it's about. But Allison is who?
Allison is a 40-year-old woman who dies in a car accident, and the book begins with an obituary.
It does. The obituary and the police log.
And the police
And they
log,
think
yeah.
it could have been alcohol related. Okay. And then the rest of the book, you're going to tell us again the characters. Our camera went down, so now we're doing this again. This is a lot of fun. I'm going to have this memorized by the time we get through. I'm going to know everything about this book. Okay, tell us about the characters in the book and what it's all about.
Okay, so the book explores the idea that people are a mix of light and dark, of good and bad, that they're complicated, complex. We're all complicated, and that we only ever know people through the lenses of our own perceptions.
Yeah.
That's how and that we never fully know another person, even the people we love best in the world, maybe especially the people we love best in the world, we never fully know.
And that journal of the lady, Allison, the lady who dies, is found, basically.
It is.
It is.
She gets to speak for herself in the past tense. We read some of her journal entries. We see some of her playlists, the music she was listening to. But most of the story is told through 7 main characters who knew her, who were connected to her.
The 7 main characters. Tell us about the characters, the 7 characters.
So the 7 characters are her husband, who she's been married to for about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
She's got 3 daughters who are 19, 15, and 12. She had a boyfriend. She's a complicated person.
Yeah.
She was a devoted mother, but she also had a problem with alcohol, and she was having an affair. And then her mother has some things to say, and her best friend we hear from as well.
Who is Adam now? Tell us about Adam.
So Adam is the man she's having an affair with.
Right.
And
I kept picturing him as a young kid. I don't know why. I'm not a kid. I'm somebody in his 20s, something like that.
He's a man who's got some money. He's got a trust fund, and he ostensibly teaches Allison some photography. But he's one of my favorite characters because he's sort of shallow. He's kind of coasting along in life, and after she passes away, he realizes he was in love with her, and he's trying to be a better person, and that kind of aggravates him a little bit. He doesn't want to be a better person.
He didn't want to be. He was just kind of like going along and not doing anything.
Perfectly happy doing what he was doing.
Who's Charlotte?
Charlotte is Allison's youngest daughter, and she's 12, and she's an old soul, and she's very intuitive.
Who are the other characters now?
So there's her husband is Dave, and then she's her mother and her best friend, who is Sarah, and Jenna is the oldest daughter. She's 19, and she comes home from college, and she's got some issues. All the characters are, in addition to processing this woman's loss, they're all trying to deal with their own issues as well.
They're all trying with their own lives.
And they're really struggling to deal with their own issues because Allison was such a force in their lives. Several of them say, my mom would have known what to do, or Allison would have known what to do here.
So they lost, the matriarch of the family, right?
Right. At one point, the youngest daughter says, I don't know what Mom did that held us together as a family, but we don't seem to be very good at it.
Yeah, she was the glue.
She was.
And I guess Dave, the father, wasn't really the glue.
No. And he's really, everyone really is just broadsided by this.
They were totally broadsided.
Totally surprised, and she has secrets. They start to find things out that they didn't know everything about her, and it surprises them. Every single one of them is surprised in some way by the things they find out about Allison.
Yeah, I can't imagine finding, part of me, if I saw someone's journal, somebody passed away in my family and I found a journal, my first instinct would be, I'm not sure I should look at this, because I know how personal they are.
Right.
That is tricky business.
Right.
And maybe you don't want to look at it. You maybe don't want to.
And in fact, her daughter, who finds the journal, starts to read it and then puts it down. And she says, maybe I don't want to know this stuff about my mother.
Right.
If certain things I thought were true are not actually true.
Yeah.
What else is not actually
What
true?
else was not actually true?
Right.
So was it things that Allison had told the family, or what do you think?
I think she's just nervous about what she might find out if she reads more. She starts to read it.
Yeah.
And I think it just
She just
makes
got more
her,
and more nervous.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're talking with Christine Beauchaine, and she is an author from Northbridge, and she has written Allison Forever. And I had asked you this before. You designed this cover, and tell us about how you found the canoe. I mean, not the canoe, the little rowboat.
I did. There's a whole section. Allison is a photographer,
Yeah.
and there's photographs in the book.
As are you.
As am I. And there's a whole section in the book where her oldest daughter goes to the gallery where she'd been displaying her photographs, and she retrieves them, and there's a photograph of a rowboat, and it really affects her. And she thinks, well, is there something really happening with this photo, or is this just good art? Good art
Yeah.
should have you should have a reaction to good art.
Right.
And it's all tied in with Greek mythology, with Charon the ferryman, and going to the underworld and all of that. And I had put it out on Facebook, and I said, "Does anybody have a rowboat?" Because I wanted to take the picture myself. I didn't want to hire somebody to do it. I didn't want to download it. I really wanted to take it myself. And I had a couple of people saying, "Well, I've got a canoe." Well, that doesn't help because it didn't work. I went to Florida with my mother to visit my mother's cousin. We had a wonderful, wonderful time. My mother had never been on an airplane. It was great. And we went on an airboat ride, and there at the dock was a rowboat. And my mother's cousin said, "Weren't you looking for a
You got
in
the
Florida?"
picture.
I
And
got
you
the
got
picture,
that pic-
and I love it. I took it in black and white, and it's exactly what I was going for.
T.F. Forster, now this is a mysterious philosopher I love. This has been quoted in the book a lot. Your sadness is silent and gut-wrenching, and somehow takes on a life of its very own. Amazing. Because it's true. It's true. If you're in mourning or you're sad about something, if you let it, it morphs and just takes over you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it does kind of become its own thing.
Now, Christine is a bundle of surprises, because not only does she write, but she is an artist. Now, I didn't know this. You joined the Blackstone Valley Art Association.
It did.
And if you're not from around here, out of the country, whatever, that is an artist group out of basically based in Uxbridge, Massachusetts. And they are becoming more and more well known. I see more and more things in the paper about that. When did you join with them?
You know what I did? I have two kids, and then I lost my daughter in 2008. She was 4 days old. And a couple of years after that, I had such horrifying anxiety. I mean, it was just awful. Yeah. And I said to myself...
Panic.
Panic at Walmart, it was horrible.
Yeah.
And I said, you need to start doing things that scare you, or you're never going to leave the house.
Sure.
And I wrote my bucket list at that point. And I said, you know what? I want to paint. I want to see if I can. I never had a lesson. But I wanted to try it. Yeah. And so I joined the Blackstone Valley Art Association so I could do an art show. And I did. And it was fun.
You're a power of example. Get out there, step up and do it.
Just do it.
I mean, you can't. What have you got to lose? So somebody doesn't like your art. Who cares?
That was the thing. And I said to myself, since everything is scary, since going to Walmart is scary, you might as well do the big stuff.
Overwhelming. If you have a panic disorder, that is overwhelming.
It is overwhelming.
People who don't understand panic disorder haven't got a clue. But I'm
not an anxious person by nature.
Yeah.
But it was such a terrible period of really high anxiety for me.
Yeah.
And I went back to school and I finished my degree. I became a yoga teacher. I published my first book. I started to paint. And that's the thing. I don't. It is what it is. I'm going to put it out there.
You're going to do it, too.
I am going to do it.
Now, her next book is something that really thrills her, too, about going cross-country, traveling. Would you do it by foot or by car or by bike?
Probably by car.
Okay.
I would like to see all 50 states. I haven't traveled very much
You would start from Massachusetts. So in your book, how's it going to start? She's right. Got another book.
This is the next book. This will be my fourth novel. And it does start in Massachusetts, actually. The main character's from Massachusetts. And I've actually plotted out how he's going to drive around the country. And I have a great love for those roadside America attractions, the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota and the world's largest filing cabinet. And the story is about a guy who hooks up with the love of his life comparatively late in life. He's about 50.
That's not late, dear. That's middle age.
They don't have much time together. She passes away, and he decides to take a trip that they had talked about together, and he's going to scatter her ashes in every single state, and he's going to go, and he's going to learn about himself in the process.
You're going to have to find research each state and find something about each one to incorporate it into the book.
Yes.
So he'll end up going alone, or
he's going to go alone, but I know that he's going to meet an animal companion at some point.
Okay.
I've got one person voting for dog and 3 people voting for cat right now. We'll see. I don't know which direction.
Either one.
Either one. Yeah.
Either one. That sounds good.
But he's going to learn about himself. I always, in my books, my characters learn about themselves. It's always a journey of self-discovery.
Oh, yeah. Well, definitely in Alice in Forever. I mean, it reads like a true memoir. It reads to me almost like family members contributing. It's amazing. If you told me this was true, I would have said, okay. Because how can they get your book, Allison?
Alice in Forever is on Amazon.com, and you can either type in Alice in Forever, or you can put in my name, and my other 2 books are there as well.
Okay, and also check downstairs in the Upton Town Library, check the author's wall, you'll find it there. Now we got that down. What inspired you to write this?
I think it's interesting, the whole mix of light and dark. I think we want to see things in absolutes sometimes, This is a good person, this is a bad thing, but it's not that cut and dry. It's never... I'm very much a shades of gray kind of person. Yeah. I don't see the world in black and white.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think I really just wanted to explore that. And it was fascinating to write Allison, because she was a very complex character. She wasn't just... My first novel was a lot of fun, but it was kind of fluffy. The main character wasn't having... her crises weren't life and death.
No, this was very serious.
Yeah.
The sudden death of this person. And how it affected all these different people around her. And each little chapters are dedicated to how these people took it and how they survived.
Right. And they all find that they didn't really know her like they thought they knew her.
Yeah, it was a big surprise.
Even though they really loved her, and they were people who were very close to her mother, her best friend, her husband, her daughters. Yeah. But they didn't really know everything about her. Or the way they perceived her was perhaps not the way other people perceived her, or not the way she perceived herself.
No. You're also a poet.
I am.
Okay, you started writing at 15?
15.
See, I remember that. Did your parents know that you were already into that?
They did.
They did. What did they do? Did they get you, go, get out there, let the teacher know?
I had my mother gave me an old Royal typewriter, a manual, and I started typing on that.
You started typing at 15, you were doing this?
I did. I'm working on a poetry compilation right now. I have about 2,000 poems that I've written, and some of them are even good. Not all 2,000, though. I'm working on a compilation of about 150 maybe. And I actually went and downloaded a typewriter font for my laptop, so that it's when the book goes, it's all going to looks like it's typewritten, because that just sort of connects me with the beginning.
Will there be a title of it?
There will, but I don't know what it is yet.
You don't know that? Okay, so let me get this straight. There are 2 books you're working on now. The first one is poems, and the other one is the cross-country story.
Yes.
Okay, which is coming out first for the rest of us who want to
probably the poetry book, because that's all written. It's just a matter of typing.
You just have to pull the trigger and it goes.
I'm working on a kid's book too.
A what?
A kid's book.
Where do you find time?
I don't know.
Do you sleep?
Occasionally.
Oh, really? Where? You work too? You work with children? She has a job during the day with children?
I work full time. Yep. I teach yoga twice a week.
And you teach yoga?
Yeah, and actually, I'm hoping to go back to grad school and get a master's degree in counseling, because that's something that I'm really...
You want to do counseling? What type?
Family, I think.
Family
and kids.
Family and kids. So, what college are you going to go to?
I'm not sure yet. I'm still doing the research.
My grandfather went to Clark. That's a pretty good school. But Clark Quincy has classes too, doesn't it?
It's probably got to be something that's online, because I don't know that I can get myself.
What's that called? Southern New Hampshire University?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I'm still researching. So.
Yeah, that sounds good. Now, the next book, the poet, when should that be out?
I've started it. I do plan on. I love to participate in National Novel Writing Month. That's so much fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure if I will finish it in that time. I didn't finish this one in that time. I started it in November, but I didn't finish it until about March.
And then the going across country one?
There's one. I will work on it during National Novel Writing Month, but I don't know if I will finish it.
No, I'd asked you before I forgot. Had you been appearing? You'd been in Shrewsbury.
Yes.
When was that fair?
That was last week, actually, on Friday.
How did it go?
It went well. I didn't sell a lot of books, but I talked to a lot of people. And
That's what I tell my authors. I said, you know what? You may not sell many or any, but if you can schmooze and meet the other authors, give them your card, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
They might say, oh, somebody I know would like to have you speak. You've reached out already.
Yep,
You have one. It's a win-win situation. You may think, well, I didn't sell anything, but boy, it can be win-win.
And you never know what kind of connections you're going to make. I did an arts fair in Sutton last year and met someone who wanted me to come speak to their book club.
Now, did you come in as an author or as an artist?
As an author, actually.
At the Sutton Art, at the art fair.
Yeah.
More and more arts and crafts fairs are welcoming authors.
Yes.
And it's kind of cool because a lot of the authors have said to me, well, I don't belong there. I'm like, you'd be surprised because you might be one of the only ones there, and they're going to be zeroing on you.
Right. I'm a member of the Sutton Writers Group, and they had a table at the
You
Arts
know Lisa
Festival.
Shea?
I do.
Oh,
I
Lisa
do.
Shea's been on
Lisa's
with
wonderful.
us. Yeah, she's been on with us.
Yeah.
I've got stacks of her books.
Lisa and I are actually working with a couple of other people. We're trying to start a Blackstone Valley Authors and Artisans Festival.
Oh, I love it.
So we're working on that as well.
Do you think that'll happen this year?
I think it's going to be next spring.
Next spring. Okay.
Um,
All right. That's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, where would it be held? In Sutton?
We're hoping at the Whiten Community Center in
Oh,
Whitensville.
perfect. On their land or in the center?
On their land in the back.
God, you know, with the weather, though, with all the beautiful artwork, you're taking a chance. Will there be tents?
We're going to have people bring their own.
Okay.
We're
okay.
still trying to iron out the details.
It's
It hasn't
tricky.
been done before.
Yeah.
But I said, this is something I want to do. I don't know how to run a festival, but I'm going to learn.
No, yeah, sure. You've got the moxie to do it.
I'm very much, I'm a very stubborn person, not in a your opinion doesn't matter, but go ahead, tell me I can't kind of a way.
And you're going to do it. In your family, how many kids were in your family?
I'm the oldest, and I have a brother who's 6 years younger than me.
So you were the oldest. Okay, you were the flag carrier. Aha. Uh-huh. Yeah, they say that the oldest child has got the hardest part because they are well, not the experiment necessarily, but the parents. Oh my God, have pinned so many hopes on this one.
And you're learning as a parent with the first one. And
by the time the second and third come, it's like I remember. I was the youngest of two onlys, and you learn a lot what the first one did wrong. Don't approach Dad like that. Don't go doing that. And you learn, okay, well, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to stay out of trouble because I know how to do it another way and not get into trouble. But being the first is it. Now, you have how many? You have two children.
I have two children.
And do they write at all?
They do not.
They don't.
They don't.
This was just you.
This is just all
It's not
me.
from anywhere in your family.
No.
No art?
No, my dad had some artistic talent, but he always let his anxiety get in the way of doing it. He never felt like it was good enough. He never really did. It breaks my heart. I love my dad, but I don't want to have that happen. I don't want, it's a cautionary tale.
What was his style?
Very particular. He was a draftsman for
Yeah.
many years, and so he was very exacting and very particular.
So
but
you are the first author.
I am the first author.
So we've been talking with Christine Beauchaine, and she is the author of Alison Forever. It reads like a memoir of a true story. I'm amazed that it isn't because it starts off with the obituary and the police log, and you were a journalist, and so you know about a lot of this stuff, right?
Yeah, briefly. I was a summer intern at the Blackstone Valley Tribune, and I loved it. But it also taught me that I didn't want to pursue a career in journalism further, just because I don't have that killer instinct. If you tell me go away, I don't want to talk to you, I want to go away.
So you learned that way.
I learned.
Again, how can people get a hold of Alison Forever?
Alison Forever is available on Amazon, and if you just type in Alison Forever or my name, it'll come up. And also the first two books that I've written, Lost and Found at the Bolodrome and Winds of Providence.
I love this one by T.F. Forrester. I want only to fix things for you, yet some things are not fixable, and some cannot be fixed by me. How true is that?
That's very true.
We can't fix people, we can't control them, we can't cure them, right?
And that's a huge lesson to learn, that we can't fix other people.
No. from I can't. Again, there are 7 different characters. This is after this lady Allison dies. Okay, very possibly an alcohol-related accident. And this is, they find her journal. Goes back to, well, it's dated 2012, December 2012, 17 months. I love the way you do this, 17 months before the accident, and then you'll have after the accident in the different...
That was a suggestion my mother made, actually. She read my rough draft, and she said, I kept having to go back and see when the accident happened. I kept getting confused.
Yeah.
So I added that in. It was a really easy thing to add in, and I think it kind of anchors you. You know where you are.
I love that part, because you didn't just leave us hanging.
Right.
We knew exactly, okay, and now it's part of the journal. Can you tell us who found her journal?
Her youngest daughter, Charlotte, finds her journal.
What does Charlotte do with it?
She reads some of it, and then she gets a little bit freaked out by it because the mother who wrote the journal is not the mother that she perceived. It's a different... Allison is a character who had some very high anxieties, some depression, a lot of feelings of not being good enough, but she works really, really hard for her kids to not see that.
Yeah, it was she was thinking of them and sort of like her way of covering it up.
Right. She wants her daughters to be brave and strong and amazing, and she tries really hard to not let them see that about her. And I almost wonder, would they have been better off if she had showed that part of herself? Maybe they would have learned more, maybe...
They might have. Examine your anger, don't flee. Really look at it and see that it almost always covers up fear. I've heard about that, too. T.F. Forrester. I love this. And it is both better and worse than you expected. I like that. It's like you're going to surgery, right? It's either better or worse than you expected. You could go in there, oh, this will be a piece of cake.
Well, Lawrence Welk said, there are good days and bad days, and this is one of them.
Lawrence Welk, you're too young to remember Lawrence. Do you remember Lawrence?
I do remember Lawrence.
No way.
But I collect quotes, so I happened to see that.
Oh, I remember my parents settling down in the living room with that, and then Ed Sullivan. Oh, that was a biggie on Sunday night.
Yep.
And I was just a little kid, and I'm like, oh my God. You know, I'll come in when Ed Sullivan's on. If you bring in the Beatles, I'll be in there, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I collect quotes. I've been collecting quotes since I was 15, since I started writing poetry, but also been collecting other people's quotes.
So you go for other people's quotes?
I love other people's quotes. I started writing them in my planner this year, so each day has
Are they going to be in
different...
your next books?
Maybe.
In the Going Across Country one?
Could be.
I love poetry, but I'm especially looking forward to the one about the man who goes across country, and then maybe an animal befriends him.
Yes. I don't know what animal it is yet, but...
Christine, one more time, how can people get a hold of your book?
It's on Amazon.com, and if you just type in Allison Forever or my name, it comes right up.
And what's your email again?
It's Edalynne, EDALYNNE, @hotmail.com.
And you are local.
I am.
Right.
I live in Whitensville.
Right. And we don't know yet where you're going to be appearing next.
Nope.
Not yet.
But working
there's
on that.
plenty of places around. I've given her some really cool hints about that one. Yeah, I don't know where you're going to find the time. When do you teach yoga?
I teach yoga on Monday nights at the Methodist Church in Whitensville, and I teach yoga on Saturday afternoons at the Alternatives Gallery in Uxbridge.
Is this the kind of yoga where you're going through all of this, or is it more of a mental...
I do a little bit of meditation at the end,
Okay.
and I'm a very it's all good kind of yoga teacher. We use the wall, we use blocks, we use straps. If
Oh.
you can't do this, try it this way. I love to teach for people who think they're inflexible,
Yeah.
or people who think they can't do it because of their shape or their size or
Exactly.
whatever. So I'm a very it's all good kind of yoga teacher.
I don't think there's anything you don't do. And you're going to go back to college and get your degree in counseling. You teach yoga, you're an author, you're an artist.
I don't want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. That's about the only
No,
thing
you
I
want to
can
do it
think of.
all. I want it all.
do.
I love this. Thank you so much, Christine.
Thank
for
you
being
very
with us.
much.
We'll
Thank
see
you
you
for
next time.
having
And we'll
me.
see you next time with the next book coming up, right?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll see you.
Absolutely. Thank you.